This golfer's standing a little too upright. Again, we want to see the spine angle at 30 degrees or thereabouts. This is 26, a little too upright. And that's why golfer's a tad bit too upright, but he's got his hands hanging nice and freely. I'd rather see him a little tall than a little bent over too far. He's got his butt behind him. His knees are out over his shoelaces. It's actually a pretty decent posture. Let's see if we can get the hands into that triangle. Starts way to the inside and ends up getting behind him. And this is what we mean behind him. We'd like to see his hands still inside that triangle we created. And notice he's way back. That's the power robber. And as strong as he is, he's not getting the power he'd like to because he's not able to keep the hands inside the power triangle there. Now he's dropping the club perfectly on plane right there. Let's clear this line out. I've said over and over again how important it is to get the shaft parallel to this trail arm. And you see how well he does that. So even with an unorthodox takeaway, he does a great job of dropping that club in the slot, something we should all try to emulate. Then he's going to turn right on through the shot, keeping that club on that plane. See how the club's coming from the inside, the hands to the outside, right on through. Beautiful high draw to a great finish. Awesome swing. I'm not too certain I would spend a whole lot of time tweaking that backswing. Here we see a really good setup. Notice the arms are hanging nice and freely straight down from his shoulders. Spine's at about 30 degrees. Knees are slightly flexed. Would like to see a little bit more of the lead arm on top of the trail arm. You can see a bit of it there. Let's go ahead and watch the takeaway. I think what we'll see is that the left arm moves out away from the body a little bit there. See how it's moving out a little bit? Let's see if he ends up with his hands inside. See, right there he's opened up his arms too much. I moved a little bit. So you can see he's a little bit behind himself right there, but not really too bad. He's got his arms almost to shoulder high, but notice that the club is parallel to vertical. It's in a good position right there. Let's go ahead and clear the triangle out of the way, and let's watch what happens on the way down. Brings the club back, and notice right about in here, it's starting to get parallel to the trail arm. And that's what we're trying for. In order to do that, that left arm still has to be down where it was at setup. He's done a great job here. He's going to rotate into the shot. Let's see what happens. Starting to show almost both pockets on his jeans. Not quite, but almost. Look how straight the ball is leaving the face of the club. And he's going to rotate right on through to a finish. His spine is still at the same angle it was. Then he's going to finish tall and proud. Great swing. We can see this golfer standing a little too erect. Let's go ahead and draw in the spine angle. Go straight down to about the hip and then up to the ears. That's pretty erect. Actually, that's even more erect than it looks at 27 degrees. Let's see if you can turn their hands back up into the power triangle there. Not bad. Notice the triangle now. Both elbows are inside the triangle. Great job there. The club is a little offline. Now it's perfect. Right there is where it wants to be, but we did let the right elbow drift away a little bit. Let's see if we can tuck that right elbow back into that triangle. Now she's going to start down. She went a little too far right there. She's going to start down, and she's going over the top. So we need to drop the hands down the inside line of that triangle, the vertical line, instead of the outside line. What's going to happen now is as she comes out like this, you can see, if I clear the lines out, the club is parallel with the lead arm, not the trail arm, because the hands are too high, haven't shot, and they're way outside. You can see that the club, instead of being back here on that line, is way out in front of the hands. That's a coming over the top move. Shoots the ball off to the right. Watch it go off to the right now. Here we go. Off to the right. Boom, there it goes. Plenty of power, but no direction. See, we have a golfer bent over a little too far. The angle from the hip to the ear should be 30 degrees from perpendicular, not 43. So let's watch the takeaway here. When the club reaches the top, we want both hands in the triangle. Now she does that pretty good. Notice she's right on a vertical triangle, but now her spine is closer to the 30 degrees that she would have been at setup. So her body's telling her where it wants to be. Now let's see if she routes the club back down the top line. Very good. A little over the top there. See how she's starting to move over the top there. And then now the club is way outside the hands, coming to the ball, and she's going to swing to the left, and the ball zooms off to the right like that. So let's watch that again. As she comes in, she gets the club outside the hands, way out there. It should be inside the hands. Right now the club should be on this line here, coming to the ball, not straight up and down like that. So we're going to move into the shot, come across the ball, catches it on the toe, and off to the right it goes. This isn't too bad of a setup. He could be bent over a little further than he needs to be. But let's just watch what happens at the top of the backswing. Next, makes a nice turn back, gets the hands up inside the triangle like they belong, but unfortunately both elbows are outside the triangle. That means that the lead arm is bending a lot, and the right arm is flaring out behind him. It puts him in a tough position to drop the club back down to the bottom of the triangle in order to have an inside-out swing. So let's see how he does here. So now we see that the club is staying outside the hands. See how it's way outside the hands? It never gets back on the back inside line, back in this way. So he's always going to be coming over the top slightly. Notice how the left arm is still coming around the outside and through, and then he completely loses his triangle, his angle of setup. So at what point, see right there, he's still got his angle. Now he's pulling up out of it right there. He pulls up completely out of the triangle. Out. So we had to get him to stay down in the triangle and keep his elbows closer together. This golfer is trying to emulate Mo Norman. Actually, he needs to get his hands even a little straighter than they are, arms a little straighter than they are there. We want the shaft running up about to there, up to the shoulder level. But he's not bad. We're going to watch the takeaway. It should stay up pretty much on that line. And now he gets to right to there. Notice he's parallel to the swing plane. That's a good position to be. And then he's dropping the hands back. Notice now the club, if I clear the yellow line out, you can see the club is dead parallel to the trail arm. Perfect position. The only thing that's causing him problems is that's as far as he's getting his arms back. He needs to get them up a little higher than that, which means he needs to get his shoulder down a little bit lower and his hands up a little bit higher, his lead shoulder down lower. Then he's going to turn right into the shot. Looks like exactly where he was at setup, doesn't it? And then right on through and hit it. The one thing we're going to add to that is try to get him a little bit more lateral momentum of his lower body towards the target so he has more mass into the shot. What I've done here is create a little box. We like the golfer to stay in the box, to rotate in the width of that box a little bit. Watch what happens with this golfer. Watch the knees. Knees go way outside the box, especially the right knee. And the left knee almost makes it outside the box too. The whole upper body is outside the box, half the lower body. Now she's going to have a really tough time of getting back to the golf ball. What we want her to do is now get back to the lead side of the box and pivot. And what she's going to do is not even get back to the lead side of the box. See how she doesn't even get back inside the box because she moves so far off that her elbows now are separating, and the momentum of the club is going to make the club just go around her. See like that? She doesn't get any long arms that way. We got to get her to get her arms extended down the target line. As wide as they are there, they need to be that wide on the forward swing. So let's draw another box. We'll draw a box here. So we want her to get from there to this side of the box with her hands, and notice you can't do that. I'm going to work on that. Well, here we see a pretty good setup. Good spine angle. 27 degrees is pretty close to where we want to be, about 30, somewhere up to around 1 o'clock. That's a pretty good shot right there. The right foot's back a little bit to promote a little bit of a draw. Let's watch the takeaway. Turning back pretty nicely. He is raising the left arm a little bit, but he brings his elbows pretty close together. Notice the right elbow's flying a little bit. His hand is getting a little bit behind his spine angle, but not too bad. The upright spine angle. And he's going to drop the club into the middle. Now that's me moving the triangle a little bit because I wasn't real stable with the camera. But as you see, as he's coming into here, he's trying to get the club more parallel to the trail arm than the lead arm. Does a pretty good job. So he's dropping the club in from the inside as much as he can. Routes the run through. Notice how long he keeps his spine angle here through the follow through. Look at this right there. That's a really nice picture right there. If we can all work on that, we're going to hit better shots. Good job. Here we see a pretty good setup. Hands are down under the chin. Spine angle's about 30 degrees, at least as accurately as I can do it. You can see the lead arm over the top of the trail arm. The feet are nice and square to the target line. Let's see if she maintains the spine angle through the entire swing. See, she's going a little flat there. Now her hands are getting outside the target line. That means her hands are no longer in front of her. We need the hands to stay inside of that triangle created by the spine angle and perpendicular, not get out behind that spine angle. And then she's down to the ball nicely and through. And again, we got another golfer swinging out to the left rather than out to the right. Remember, the swing needs to come down and out that way. If we come down and that way, we're going to hit it off the toe. We're going to see a pretty athletic swing here. The only thing we need to work on is getting the right hip to come through together with the right elbow, and then get the right hand in the shake hands position when it's out about here somewhere. So let's go ahead and watch the swing. A little bit of head movement, not too bad. Stiffening of the right leg. We want to stay inside the legs, so remember that imaginary box. Now she's going to drive her hips to the target pretty good here. See it? Good little hip slide. And then she's going to turn, and her hand is going to be under the club instead of in the shake hands position. So the hand never gets to reach to the circle. But you can see right there, if I blow this up quite a bit, that you see how underneath everything is and there's no extension. We want to be able to see the fingers of the left hand under the forearm of the right arm. This golfer needs to get her head back almost to the yellow line. She's playing Mo Norman style natural golf. In order to do that, you have to have your shoulders at a tilt, which then shifts the whole triangle. Her shoulders are tilted in the wrong direction. She's standing straight up and down. Then she's going to move her head on the way back to finally get it over the back leg, but by then it's too late. Then it goes well past the back leg. We're not staying inside the box. Now she does face the ball at impact, but because she's moved her upper body so much, the lower body isn't doing anything. We need to get her to learn how to transfer the hips into the shot so that her head stays back on that side of the golf swing. We're going to watch this swing in slow motion just to show you there's a lot of different ways to get the job done. She's going to use club leg and soft wrists to the maximum here. She doesn't get a lot of leg power. She doesn't get a lot of follow through. But just watch this swing in slow motion. Takes the club back to the inside and then just whips the club through. That was in slow motion. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, now here it is at regular speed. What you're going to see is a pretty amazing athletic right down the middle every time. There's a lot of different ways to get the job done, guys. You don't always have to be picture perfect. You just got to get results.